Welcome to the Dawn Osborne Show, Limitless Life. The big question women like you and I ask is, how do we do that? How do we have a growth mindset? How do we increase our emotional intelligence? How do we do life, business and marketing, and yet still remain balanced in the rhythm of our life and our family? Those are the questions that this podcast will answer. My name is Dawn Osborne, and welcome to my Limitless Life podcast. Good morning, everybody. It is Dawn Osborne here from Fearless Women, and I wanted to bring some motivation, some inspiration, some daily stuff that you can use and apply in your own life. So we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the change curve. All right, but before we start, I want to ask you a question. I want you to think about in your own life right now, what's working and what's not working, okay? So it could be in the area of your relationships, work relationships, personal relationships, love relationships, or it could be your health and fitness, what's working, what's not working. It could be in the area of business, marketing, finances, operations, teams, leadership, all of those areas. So for you right now, I want you to think about one area that's working really well and one area that's not working, okay? So I want you to have that at the forefront of your mind, because I'm going to unpack right now for the area that you think is not working. I'm going to show you how to create change in that area, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about the 4 steps that you go through in order to create change in your life. And so for me, like I remember, I'm an entrepreneur, right? And I am basically a huge advocate for change. I love change. In fact, probably too much change, all right? Because when you're an entrepreneur and you're creative and you create something, then you move on, okay? And we create, we move on, we create, we move on, we create, we move on. And that's really good with an entrepreneurial, gift set, that you can create something and move on. But let's say, for example, you create a product and then you move on. Well, that product means nothing unless you delve into marketing and sales and operations and teams, okay? So in my world, I like to create products. So I remember, back in 2000, I think it was 13, I created a skincare product for teens, okay? It's called Teen Skin. So I created this product, and so I was in my absolute happiest. I was in my zone. I was powering. I'm creating. I'm looking at branding. I'm looking at my customers. I'm looking at how my customer, will buy the product, will love the product, and all the stuff that I absolutely love. Okay, so it's like the bit that I like dive into. It's where my passion is in the creative process, and it works. Okay, so I'm good at that particular area, and it just works for me and my business. And then I created the product. Then I started advertising and marketing the product, and I did it in the Facebook platform. And it was just booming. It just boomed. It just popped straight out. People were buying it. I had very little marketing dollars was spent on it. It grew organically. I sold it to every state. Australia, then it went global. I've started to ship it internationally, went into America, UK, other overseas places, Canada, and it was like, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, the way that it was being sold and what was doing started to not work anymore. There was changes happening that were out of my control. And for a long time, I started to drop into what I would call kind of denial, that the way that I was doing things were no longer working because there was things external to me that were changing. And so me being in denial, I was in denial for quite a long time because I thought it would always be the same. I thought, well, this works and it's going to keep working, but there was a point where it just didn't work anymore. And it was like, oh gosh, that means I have to create change. I have to do something different. And there was quite a bit of resistance for me in order to do that, because I was really like, oh, that means I kind of got to go back. I've already created, and entrepreneurs, we do this. We create something, we put it in a process, we put it in a system, and then we move on and we go next. Whereas, you know, the managers of the world, the technical people of the world, the people who like to, you know, delve into data and research and all that kind of stuff would love this part of a business. But for me, it's probably where I have the most resistance is to manage something that I've created. I like to create it, move on. I don't like the downward bit of data, the downward bit of exploring what's working and what's not working, okay? And so I hit resistance, and for a long time it meant that I had to figure out new ways of promoting my product, new ways of doing things, new ways of reaching my target market, reaching my avatars, communicating to them different, looking at different platforms in order to market my product. And I actually hated all that. I'm going to be so honest with you. It was like, oh my gosh, I hate this part of the business. And so I had to go through a change curve, all right? I had to start to do things differently. I couldn't take for granted anymore the way that I was doing it was going to last forever. I had to start to change the way that I thought. First, I had to get the right mindset. I had to get over some of these resistances that I got, and I had to sort of create change. So for you guys right now, this is going to be really useful if you're, now I've used, you know, obviously my product as an example. You've got your own area right now, which I've already got you to think about, which is the area of your life that's not working, okay? There's something going on that has changed. The change is out of your control. The only thing that you are in control of is yourself, okay? The only thing you can change is yourself. And so for me, I had to change me. I had to change the way that I was thinking and how I was doing things. But let me explain the change curve to you, because I feel like, you know, this is going to bring some real awareness to your own life and the way that you do things, all right? So what is the change curve? Okay, so the change curve goes through 4 phases, all right? So for the first phase, you are in absolute denial, okay? Which means I am not acknowledging that something needs to change. I'm going to bury my head in the sand, and I'm going to pretend that, you know, what I need to change doesn't involve me, okay? So you're here. This is phase 1. This is denial. All right? And then we sit there for a long time. Now, in my example, I sat in denial that I had to change the way that I was doing things in my business for my product until it got painful. And what happens is, when there is enough pain associated to your situation, you will create change. All right, if there's enough pain where it's like, oh my gosh, I really need to do something about this now. Now, for me, with my product, sales dropped. Okay, so sales dropped to the point where, oh my gosh, this is painful. I need to do something. So I sat in denial until it got too painful. So I sat here, and so pain is what motivated me to start the change curve. Once the pain had got so much, I started then. Obviously, there was resistance. So, you know, the resistance I talked about, you know, earlier for me is delving into data, sitting down and putting all my spreadsheets out and all my reports out and looking at the problem is not my favorite thing to do. So there's for that particular scenario, there's a huge amount of resistance. But the pain was so great, it's like, no, I have to do this. So once I'd gone through the resistance phase and I had to come into some sort of acceptance, okay? So you come into you accept that you have to create the change, all right? Nothing's gonna change unless you take that first step. Then what happens, we then move into the third phase, and we explore. So for me, it was me getting all my data out, having a look at all my spreadsheets, spending a day or half a day looking at all the stats, looking at the KPIs, looking at all the you know, what's going on with my avatar, my ideal customer. Has my ideal customer shifted? You know, all of these things I had to look at, and for me, that felt like a backward step. It felt like, oh my gosh, I've done all this before. Why do I have to do it again? But in order for me to create change, I had to do the things that I hated that I had most resistance, and I had to explore. So once for you guys, if you think about what's not working and you take this curve into it, into your own situation, most of my customers, now if you needed coaching on any particular area of your life, most of my coaches come to me at that point. They've gone through a pain, they've hit the resistance, and they're exploring what solutions there are to their problem. So, it's like, okay, I've got a problem, I'm in pain, I feel the resistance, I'm avoiding some stuff in my life, I'm avoiding making changes. Okay, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like, okay, I need to explore, is there a solution for my problem? So once you've hit exploration, you are ready to go to the next phase, which is commit. All right. So we go from exploring, and then we go, all right, okay, I am ready to commit. I am ready to create change. I'm ready to move forward with what I need. And obviously, I went through that quite quickly. In my particular example, it was like the pain was so great. I had resisted, then it was like, okay, I have to do this, get the paperwork out, go explore, and then I'm committing to finding the solution. But there's a couple of words that I want to bring, when you're ready to commit, okay, what happens then? There's two more words that I want to introduce to you. One is you will get clarity. You'll get clarity. And you'll get I don't even know if I spelled that right, but anyway, all you spelling bees out there, I'll drive you nuts with my spelling, so I do apologize. Okay, so once you're ready to commit, it's like, okay, you're ready to commit. My coaching clients come to me, they go, right, I'm ready to commit, but they're still very cloudy. That's what a coach's job is to do, is to bring you awareness, to take away the clouds out of your mind. We work with, getting mindsets in the right position. So if your mind's right, if your thinking is in alignment with where you want to go, that's when change happens. So once you're ready to commit, clarity will come and certainty will come in the direction that you need to go, which aligns with what you really want. And so if we think about you guys right now, if we think about all the areas that are working and you're happy, you're energized and you're passionate, and your power is working in an area that's working. When it's not working, your energy levels are low, you've got lack of passion, that you feel heavy, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is a drag. That is the area that I want you to look at in relation to this particular area, okay? Because if you want to create change, you need to understand the change curve. You need to understand exactly where you're at, and you need to be getting to this point here where you're starting to explore. Now, some of you might be sat here listening and going, right, I'm ready to explore what's going on in my world. What I need to let you know is when there is resistance anywhere in your life, that you're at a distance, if you're resisting something or you're avoiding something, I need to let you know over here, you have a fear is totally controlling your thinking, it's controlling your actions, it's controlling your words, it's controlling what you see, what you feel, what you hear, it's controlling everything. And you can't quite see that because of the light, but over here, right here, is fear. And you need to know what that fear is and how that fear is controlling your mind and it's controlling your actions. So what I'd like to offer you right now is I have a book called Finding Fearless, and it's basically your starting point when you've identified there's some resistance and you're ready to explore. It's a free guide. It's a book that I wrote called Finding Fearless. It will give you a great insight to what's going on with you. It'll give you some tools and some strategies on how to start to move out of where you're at and create change in your life. And guess what? It's free. It's downloadable. It's free. It's about 90 pages worth of information. It's a downloadable version. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the link to this live. It'll be down here somewhere. I want you to grab the link. It won't be, it's not there now, but it will be once I've finished this live. And you will be able to download that book. Read it. Just because it's free doesn't mean to say it's not valuable. The information in it is super valuable. It's everything that I had to, you know, I went on a journey to discover this. I put it all in a book, so it will help you on your journey, and it will get you to what you want to, where you want to go in your life. So don't miss this opportunity. This is an opportunity right now for you to get some help to explore, so you can move into that phase there where you're committed, you have clarity, and you have certainty in that area of your life. All right, I hope this helped you guys. Thank you for joining me. I shall bring some more information, some more inspiration, some more motivation to you next week. Who knows what I'll be talking about, but join me next week for another session. But you have an amazing day. Goodbye.